In the heart of a forgotten forest, shrouded in a perpetual cloak of mist, lay a cemetery that time had abandoned. This wasn't just any cemetery, oh no. This was a place of forgotten souls, of stories untold, and of a curse so chilling it could freeze the blood in your veins. This was the Forgotten Cemetery. This aged graveyard had long been lost to the annals of time, its once proud name now faded into the ether of forgotten lore. Its tombstones, cracked and weathered, were overgrown with creeping ivy, standing as silent sentinels to the centuries of neglect. As the legend goes, a powerful curse was cast upon this cemetery, a curse so malevolent that it could transform the most courageous of hearts into trembling specters of their former selves. It was whispered that anyone who dared to tread upon this hallowed ground would be forever haunted by the restless spirits buried beneath the mossy earth. On a moonless night, with the chilling wind whispering through the ancient trees, a wanderer named Amelia found herself standing at the entrance of this forgotten place. Amelia was no ordinary traveler. She thrived on the thrill of the unknown, and the legends about the cemetery only fueled her curiosity. Ignoring the ominous whisperings that seemed to rise from the very soil beneath her feet, she stepped into the cemetery. As Amelia ventured deeper into the graveyard, the mist grew denser around her. The tombstones, now partially hidden by the relentless march of time, stood like spectral guardians in the gloom. Suddenly, a mournful melody like the soft lament of a violin wove its way through the air, tugging at Amelia's heart and soul. It was then that a figure materialized from the shadows, a spectral violinist, his attire hailing from a time long past. His transparent fingers danced upon the strings of his violin, drawing forth music that seemed to resonate with the very air around them. This was no ordinary place. This was a place of legends, of curses, and of spirits trapped in eternal torment. This was the resting place of the cursed, the forgotten cemetery. One moonless night, as a chilling breeze rustled the leaves of the ancient trees, a curious wanderer named Amelia stumbled upon the forgotten cemetery. Amelia, a woman known for her intrepid spirit and insatiable curiosity, was drawn into the cemetery by the whispers of untold stories and forgotten legends. The ominous aura that wrapped the place like a shroud did little to deter her. Instead, it only fanned the flames of her curiosity. As she ventured deeper into the cemetery, the mist thickened, swirling around her like spectral wraiths. The tombstones, once proud and prominent, now lay hidden beneath the cloak of time, their inscriptions long faded. They stood like silent sentinels, whispering tales of a time long past to those brave enough to listen. Suddenly, a mournful melody pierced through the eerie silence. It was the soft, haunting notes of a violin, a melody so profound that it seemed to echo the cries of the tormented souls that lay beneath the mossy earth. The music seemed to come from nowhere and everywhere at once, its source as elusive as the mist that shrouded the cemetery. From the veil of shadows, a figure materialized. A spectral violinist, his attire reminiscent of a bygone era, his transparent fingers dancing gracefully over the strings of his instrument. His presence was as ethereal as the music he played, yet there was a sense of sorrow that clung to him, as tangible as the cold mist that surrounded them. "You should not have come here," the violinist warned, his voice a haunting echo of the past. "This place is cursed, and the spirits here yearn for companionship." But Amelia was captivated. The music, the spectral violinist, the forgotten cemetery, all wove an intoxicating tapestry that held her spellbound. Fear, for her, was merely a footnote in this grand tale of the forgotten. She could not tear her gaze away, even as the eerie glow of the tombstones intensified. The forgotten cemetery had claimed another curious soul, and the spectral violinist played on, his mournful melody the only testament to her courage and curiosity. As the final notes of the haunting melody echoed through the cemetery, the ground beneath her feet trembled and ghostly figures began to emerge from the graves. Each spectral form was a chilling testament to the Forgotten Cemetery's curse, their hollow eyes revealing centuries of torment and longing. Yet, in the face of such danger, the spectral violinist stood steadfast, his violin cradled in his translucent hands. Unfazed by the apparitions, he raised his bow, drawing it across the strings in a swift, determined motion. The haunting melody resumed, now imbued with a fervor that seemed to resonate with the very air around him. The music swelled, filling the cemetery with an eerie symphony that danced amidst the tombstones and weaved through the mist. It was a melody of sorrow and hope, a testament to the violinist's unwavering vigil and the tormented spirit's eternal plight. With each passionate note, a palpable force seemed to emanate from the violin, rippling through the cemetery like a gust of wind. The ghostly figures recoiled, their spectral forms flickering as if caught in a storm. They writhed and wailed, their cries merging with the mournful melody that echoed around them. Yet, they could not advance, held at bay by the spectral violinist's music. The power of the melody was undeniable. It was as if the violinist was wielding his instrument like a sword, using the power of his music to shield Amelia from the tormented spirits. The music was a protective barrier, an invisible line that the spirits could not cross, no matter how they longed for the company of the living. The spectral violinist played on, his spectral fingers dancing over the strings with a fervency that was both haunting and mesmerizing. His music was a beacon in the gloom, a lifeline thrown to Amelia amidst the sea of tormented spirits. Through the notes of his mournful melody, he was fighting a battle against the curse, using his music as his weapon and his shield. With every passionate note, the ghosts writhed and wailed in anguish, unable to cross the invisible line. The spectral violinist's melody was their prison and their salvation, a haunting testament to the power of music and the curse of the Forgotten Cemetery. Amelia realized that the violinist was not their tormentor, but their protector, bound to this cursed place by his own tragic past. The mournful melody that once filled her with dread, she now understood as a lament, a symphony of sorrow for the trapped spirits. The spectral violinist, a figure from a forgotten time, was their guardian, his music a shield against their eternal loneliness. The violinist's spectral fingers danced on, the notes resonating with an otherworldly energy that kept the restless spirits at bay. Each note was a plea, a call for understanding, a beacon of light in the perpetual darkness of the Forgotten Cemetery. Amelia was no longer a mere observer, an intruder in this sacred place. She had become a part of the story, a witness to the violinist's eternal vigil. A sense of deep respect and gratitude welled up within her. With tears in her eyes, she mouthed a silent thank you to the spectral musician, and he nodded in acknowledgement.